Hello everyone, this is Rivayir. Hope you're doing well. This video is a top 10 list about the most underrated classes in Tree of Savior. Tree of Savior has a lot of classes in the game that are actually quite good, but not many people talk about them. So I wanted to shed some light onto them, and maybe you can find a class or two in the list that are of interest for you and fit your playing style better. So let's dive right into the list, because at number 10 we have Peltaster. Peltaster at the early stages of the game was considered pretty OP back when the game was launched in 2016. That doesn't really hold up anymore, but Peltaster is still a great class choice. Swashbuckling is a great taunt skill. High Guard, Hard Shield and Guardian greatly increases your block rate, your physical defense and your magical defense, and the other three attack skills are actually quite good now because they have been brought up skill or damage wise in the rebuild update. So they actually do decent damage. Overall, Peltaster can work as your first circle class choice after you graduated from the swordsman base class at class level 15, and it acts as a connection in conjunction with other classes. So if you want to play a tanky character, you should definitely choose Peltaster. At number 9 we have Chronomancer. Chronomancer is a great support class in the wizardry. It has the quick cast skill, which greatly reduces the cast time of skills, which is very good for classes such as mmorpg and elementalist, which have a lot of skills with high cast time. You also have Pass, which is a very good skill in order to reduce the overall cooldowns of your own skills and the skills of your party members. You have Backmasking, which is a skill that makes magic circles reappear. So let's say you are a pyromancer and you are casting Fire Pillar on the ground. Once Fire Pillar vanishes, you can cast Backmasking in the same place and the Fire Pillar will reappear, but you won't use any additional SP, and if you are backmasking any skill with overheat charges, no overheat charges will be used. Reincarnate is a very good farming skill because it makes dead monsters reappear, and it can also be used as a very good support skill through an attribute which prevents your party members from dying once and automatically refills their HP fully. Time Forward is more of a PvP skill that will increase the cooldowns of enemy players, and in regards to slow and stop, you have to decide for yourself if you want to put any skill points into the skills. A little warning about the Chronomancer class: I would advise new players not to select Chronomancer as a first circle choice because it only has support skills and you end up only with attack skills from your wizard base class. So I would put Chronomancer as a second class circle choice or as a third class circle choice. At number 8 we have Chaplain. Chaplain is an auto attack class in the cleric tree, which has become actually quite good with the episode 12 update that has been hitting our servers recently. Last Stride is actually a good skill now, so you might want to consider putting 15 points into it, because the flat damage increase has been upped greatly. Aspergillum's skill factor has been upped greatly, so it dishes out even more damage now, so definitely something you should put 15 points into. Deploy Capella remains the same, it increases holy damage by 100%, so double. This means it works together with pretty much all classes in the cleric tree, because almost all the skills of the magic based classes in the cleric tree are holy elemental. Visible Talent is a skill you want to put 1 point or 5 point into, because the skill points you put into the skill only reduce the cooldown by 1 second per skill point. Paracletus Time is a decent skill to prevent knockback and knockdown. Vinatio increases your attack speed of auto attacks greatly. At the beginning you might want to max it, but once you hit the attack speed cap with enough decks, you might want to reskill and not get any points into the skill at all. Chaplain remains a fun class, and I would definitely advise it to be played by people that enjoy playing auto attack classes. At number 7 we have Fletcher. Fletcher was considered OP once upon a time for many months after the game was launched, but after that it has become a bit quiet, and ever since the rebuild update hit, it has become good again, and through additional buffs it's now a very good class once more. As you can see here, Fletcher only has attack skills, and in the case of Magic Arrow, even an attack skill that hits multiple times throughout a certain period. The interesting thing about the Fletcher class is that all attack skills have some kind of debuffs attached to them, so it actually makes them quite versatile and good to pair up with other classes in the archer tree that use either two-handed bows or crossbows. Please keep in mind that all attack skills from Fletchers use specific arrows, so you can't just go out and hunt. You have to craft those arrows in the city before using any of the Fletcher skills. At number 6 we have mmorpg. mmorpg is the counterpart of Elementalist in the wizardry. It has a lot of hard-hitting elemental magic attacks that have very good range and high skill factors and hit multiple times. I would advise everyone to get Howling White Tiger first, due to its high skill factor and insane range. Other than that, we have Greenwood Shikigami, Water Shikigami, Toyo, and Yin Yang Harmony. It's up to you which ones you get. All 4 of them are pretty good, but you will run short of skill points and have to make a decision which ones to max. We also have a defensive skill in Genbo Armor, which is okay. It has been nerfed recently, so you have to make the decision if you want to max it or not. But since you only have to put 5 skill points in it to max it, it's maybe something you want to consider. And last but not least, we have Firefox Shikigami, which is also Moan. The skill factor of the skill is not very high and the damage is a bit lacking, but it has great special effects, such as increasing the critical rate of fire property, magic attacks, and other special effects that can be obtained through attributes. Please keep in mind, if you play mmorpg, you would need to buy an item called Paper Doll first, otherwise you can't use any of the mmorpg skills. So please go to the mmorpg master first and buy those Paper Dolls and enjoy the class. At number 5 we have Krivis. Krivis has been a favorite of mine lately because I've been playing around with it a lot. Krivis has been going through a lot of changes over the years. It was quite OP in the beta phase of Tree of Savior, but afterwards it was nerfed greatly and almost nobody played it until recently, after it received some pretty decent buffs. The skill Krivis is mostly known for his Cybers. Even for the skill factor might not look impressive, the damage is actually quite good due to the many hits it does, the high overheat charges, and the low cooldown. You got Auroras, which is an okay recovery skill, which you might want to max. You've got Salkii and Dino, which increases your accuracy, your critical rate, your magical and physical critical damage, and it also lowers the critical resistance of your enemies. So you either want to at least get one of them or both if you have the skill points for it. This has been going through a lot of changes lately. It used to double the duration of your buffs, but it now works in a way that you have to cast it on enemies. It gathers stacks, it periodically damages enemies, and it applies certain debuffs. It's quite decent, and you only have to put 5 skill points into it, so you might want to consider getting it. But the bread and butter right now of the previous class is Divine Stigma. It has an insane skill factor, which means high damage, but the real good thing is the damage increase it does to enemies, which means after you cast the skill, the enemies will be debuffed, and this debuff grants a plus 50% damage increase to all kind of attacks and skill attacks you do to enemies. And this works for all classes in the cleric tree. So it's quite actually one of the most OP skills in the game right now, in my opinion. So I would definitely recommend trying Krivis because it's actually a very good class right now. At number 4 we have Matador. Matador has been going under the radar for quite some time, and I'm not really sure why. Paso Doble and Corrida Finale are great attacking skills that can do quite a bit of damage. Paso Doble has a very low cooldown and an extreme wide area it can hit. Corrida Finale has an attribute that actually doubles the amount of hit it originally does. Ole is a great buff skill that increases the critical rate of all your attacks and skills. Backslide is great for emergency situations and it also increases your evasion rate by 100% for a certain amount of time. And it has an insane attribute that resets the cooldown of the skill if you evade at least one attack of an enemy while using backslide. Faena has pretty decent damage output, but please keep in mind that the number of hits depend on the skill level of Faena, so it's kind of an RNG skill. Muleta is a counter skill. It's a bit hard to use. You can try it out, but I would advise against it. Capote is a taunt skill that actually also applies debuffs on the enemies. As you can see at level 1, the capote buff duration is 11 seconds and it increases by 1 second with every skill point you put into it. In my opinion, Matador is a very fun class to play, and I would recommend you to try it out if you want to play something fun in the swordsmanry. At number 3 we have Retiarios. Retiarios can be found in the swordsman tree, and it remains as annoying as ever with their net skills Pull Red and Throw Red. These skills immobilize enemies and players alike and put certain debuffs on them. The attack skills Trident Finish, Dagger Finish and Blandir Candena have been buffed greatly recently, so their damage output is actually quite good, and all 3 of those skills have quite a few overheat charges to go along with it. We've got an Disarm, which has a very high skill factor and puts a physical defense debuff on enemies, and you've got Dagger Guard, which is a very good defensive skill, not only for PvM but PvP as well. At number 2 we have Druid. Druid remains a very good class that seems to get better with every patch released. Carnivore has been changed quite a bit over the last few months. It now summons corpse flowers that will aid you in battle and attack enemies for you. The damage is quite okay, so you can actually try around if you want to get this skill or not. Cortas Martyr is a skill that continuously damages enemies when they get into the area, and at the same time heal your allies. So it's actually quite nice to have. Seed Bomb is up to you if you want to get it or not. Steria Trough is a very good physical and magical critical damage increase buff. Lycanthropy transforms you either into a giant werewolf or into a demi-human wolf. You get certain buffs when you are in this state, and you can't use any of your other cleric skills or druid skills or any other skills. You get special lycanthropy skills you can use, so it's actually fun to play around. Thorn has a very high skill factor and it hits multiple times and makes enemies unable to move for 3 seconds, and additionally you can cast bleeding on them through an attribute, so it's actually very good in this case and only costs 10 skill points. Henchstone remains a very good support skill since you only have to put 1 skill point into it, and Transform and Shapeshifting transform you into enemies and grant you certain buffs through it. And at number 1 we have Psycho Kino. Psycho Kino was never really a bad class, but it seems like not many people are talking about it. As you can see, it only has 6 skills, but all 6 skills are very good. You've got Psychic Pressure, Heavy Gravity and Gravity Pull, which are all attack skills that continuously attack enemies. All 3 skills have very high skill factors, great debuffs and great attributes attached to them, so you never can go wrong with any of those 3 attack skills. You've got very good support skills in Swap and Raise, and you've got an additional attack skill in Magnetic Force, which has been changed quite recently. It has an insane skill factor now, deals additional damage to mutant types, and has really good attributes attached to it. But where Psycho Kino really shines is that it works with every other class in the wizardry. Regardless if you are Cryomancer, Elementalist, Shadowmancer, Sage, it doesn't matter. Psycho Kino will add to your DPS capabilities, to your debuff capabilities, to your attribute capabilities, to your support capabilities. It's really a jack of all trades and really good at that. It's as the name says, Psycho Kino is a really Kino class in Tree of Savior. So that was the list. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me know what you thought about it by leaving a comment in the comment section. Hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, follow me on Twitch, and see you next time.